What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live, presented by Bet Online here on Draft Lottery Eve. Tomorrow is one of the most important days in franchise history as the Draft Lottery is officially here. It's less than 24 hours away. And this entire stream is going to be previewing the Draft Lottery. We're going to be going through a mock draft at some point during this stream. We're going to have our final Tankathon, our final official Tankathon sim of this lottery process. And then, tomorrow we're going to have a Draft Lottery stream on the main channel. And me and Eric will be together in person with like 30 other Blazer fans at a secret location. It's the Colt headquarters. All right, we're going to be at the Colt headquarters. We're going to have a live stream and live reaction for the Draft Lottery tomorrow over on the main channel. Also, I just dropped a video on the main channel talking about why it would be so, basically what it would mean for the Blazers to get the number 1 overall pick. I actually scripted a video today, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that as well. Anyway, Eric, how is the nerves going into tomorrow compared to like what they were last year? Is it just kind of the same nervousness, anxiousness, or like, is there any difference for you?
Yeah, I think the only difference this year is, last year there were several good players at the top, don't get me wrong, but when it's one of those special drafts where you know for sure who the number 1 pick is, and it's a unique player that could potentially alter the complete direction of one of the franchises that land the number 1 pick. It's just a little bit more excitement at thinking about what could happen versus last year. We would have just been debating for a month who we should pick between like Banchero and Chet and Jabari, right? But now we will know if we have that life-changing player tomorrow or not. And so that makes it a little bit more interesting, a little bit more high stakes, I think. Especially since if it's any other pick, it's more than likely being dealt. But yeah, so I guess there's just a lot more pressure because the number 1 pick, it just means so much more this year.
Yeah. I'll tell you guys how I feel about tomorrow's lottery after I thank Bet Online for sponsoring this edition of Blazers Uprise Live. Check out Bet Online. They got draft lottery odds that you can get in on the action for. Live betting and parlays for NBA playoff games. MLB action as well. All sorts of different action. Whatever you want to bet on, you can find over on Bet Online. And you can use the promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, for a 50% reward bonus. 50% reward bonus. Thank you to them for sponsoring this episode of Blazers Uprise Live. So, Eric, going into last year, I was sitting here like, I'm expected to get screwed. I'm expecting to get screwed, blah, 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 blah. Like, all pessimistic and whatnot. This year, I have absolutely no expectations of anything. We got a 10.5% chance. It is what it is. So there's an 89.5% chance that we're not elated tomorrow night. Although some people would be elated getting the number 2 pick. So it depends. But I'm not going into tomorrow with any expectations. We'll just see where the chips fall. I'm just, I'm soaking up the thought of Wemby before tomorrow hits, you know? Because tomorrow is going to be reality. And, if we're super lucky, then we're going to be able to live out that dream for, like, the next 15 years, okay? For the next 15 years. But, more likely than not, unfortunately, that reality will end tomorrow. So I've enjoyed doing a couple of videos the past week, just kind of soaking in that dream, and that was my video tonight, is what it would mean and why it would be so cool for the Blazers to get Wembanyama, why it would matter a ton to me, but also just the lumps that this fan base has gone through in the past 4 or 5 years, especially since we started the channel. Since that Western Conference Finals run, we started the channel, I looked it up, May 20th, 2019, so it's still not even 4 years old yet, which it feels like I've had this, we've had this channel forever, but it's been less than 4 years since we started the main channel, started Blazers Uprise as a whole, okay? But since then, and I talked about this in the video, we have 2 first-round exit drafts and 2 tanking seasons, one of which we moved down in the lottery. As a whole, all our acquisitions, our trades, our signings haven't really worked out well either. So as a whole, we just have not gotten good luck whatsoever. We've just been taking lump after lump after lump. All that's out the window if the Blazers get the number 1 pick tomorrow. All that could be out the window if they get the number 2 or number 3 pick tomorrow and pull off like a good trade, right? Yeah. So this offseason, I have hopes for, even if the Blazers don't get the number 1 pick. It's not a situation where, the Blazers are screwed if they don't get the number 1 pick. I hope at the very least they move up. But if they get the number 1 pick, it's basically like starting a whole new book. It's not even a new chapter, it's a whole new book, and it's the book of Wembanyama, because he would be the heir apparent to Dame, and Dame's throne, his greatest Blazer ever, would probably be threatened by Wembanyama, because that's how much I believe in his long-term potential and the things he can do on the basketball court. So I'm just kind of soaking it in before reality hits tomorrow. I'm just dreaming now, not going into tomorrow expecting Wembanyama or with any expectations whatsoever, and that's just kind of how I'm approaching this.
Well, the thing about Wembanyama is, if we are lucky enough to get the number 1 pick, it's adding a potential mega superstar without having to trade anyone. And that's ultimately the clearest path to making some sort of contention or run in these last few Dame Prime years. So there's a 10.5% chance tomorrow that we're talking about a realistic possibility of Dame winning a ring in Portland with Victor. And, I mean, that's better than any trade they could pull off, or any sort of moves, sequence of moves to get to contention, in my opinion. Any of those kind of trades or whatever, even if they traded for like Siakam and Mikal Bridges this summer, it's still less likely to lead to a championship, in my opinion, than if we land Victor Wembanyama tomorrow, because you could still add another piece in addition to him with other moves. So you're not just done dealing then, but you wouldn't have had to give anyone up to get one of those players. And so, yeah, it's just the way that could possibly change the Dame narrative forever. Is just really exciting. Unfortunately, it's not, it's still an 89.5% chance of not happening, but yeah, it's still fun to think about until that gets revealed tomorrow. And I just don't want to see our name at like 7 or 6. If we don't see it there, I'm going to be happy with the results. Of course, I'll be disappointed we don't get number 1, but I just want, at least for one moment, to think, we made the top 4 and be excited. I just hope we have that, at least that little of a moment tomorrow.
Okay, this is the first time I've gotten nervous because, I'm just thinking I'm actually thinking about the emotions tomorrow, man. No, I'm not going to think about if we don't move up or whatever. I'm not going to put that negativity out there, okay? Let me think a couple of donos just to not let my mind linger on, like, what if we didn't move up, because I don't want to think about that. Shout out Jakob with a 20 Norwegian Crony dono. He says, no beard shaving tonight, Tori. Okay, sure. Thank you for the dono, Jakob. I won't shave tonight, just for you. Shout out to Cranny Mac with a $5 dono. It says, hashtag Wiggles for Wemby, which is a new tanking motto less than 24 hours before the lottery.
I think he mentioned that he sacrificed his cat and bathed in cat blood last night, and his name was Wiggles or something.
Oh, wow.
For Wemby, yeah. So
if we get Wemby, shout out to Wiggles then.
Yeah.
Poor Wiggles.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
Yes, and then shout out to Raiden with the $2 dono. Says, currently eating a chicken tendy for Wemby. You guys are on your superstitions. I respect it. Let me know what your superstitions are in chat. What you guys are doing to will this to happen.
I just have one thing. I need you all to follow it. Whatever you wore last year, your underwear, your socks, your shirt, your shorts or pants, whatever, your hat, do not wear it tomorrow. Wear something else. Preferably something that you've gotten since May of last year, so you know that it was not worn last year. So we need some sort of new outfit, new sort of if you're holding some sort of lucky charm, do not hold it for this one. Come on.
Yeah, switch it up. Switch it up. The good thing is I can look at what I was wearing last year.
Yeah.
Eric,
Yeah.
because I'm
That's
looking
really easy.
at the stream. The red hat, I lost that. I don't know where it went. Okay. I think I left it in my gym, which means that it's permanently gone. Okay, the long sleeve white Vans shirt. I'm obviously not going to be wearing that because it's like 90 degrees right now in Portland. I was door dashing in a lightning storm today. That was kind of fun. So yeah, switch it up, wear something different, get a new good luck charm, and we'll see what happens. God, I can't believe it's tomorrow already.
Yeah, I got my Anthony Simons jersey that I got this year, and yeah, so I'm gonna be wearing that. I have shoes that I just got, so we'll be wearing those. I know I have a couple pairs of underwear that I've gotten since May, so I got it covered. I think.
What if we need to not wear Blazers gear?
Well, I'm gonna wear Blazer gear. I have a hat that I got since then. I'm good.
Because last year, let's see what you had on last year. You had a Blazers hat, and I had a Blazers hat on, okay? So just no Blazers hats. I wear my Mariners hat. Okay? Because that's the cursed franchise.
No, Jakob, you do not want me wearing Utah gear because last year we didn't do the lottery for the mock-off season. We picked teams after the lottery, but the two seasons before that, I got the number 1 pick, so we don't want me messing with Utah.
Why did you pick the Jazz then?
I didn't pick the Jazz. I re-rolled and got them.
Oh, yeah, you did re-roll. Well, you still have till tomorrow to trade them.
Yeah.
Tori, no Mariners gear. No, I'll wear a Mariners hat. I was wearing a Blazer hat last year, so obviously that's not going to work, so I got to wear a Mariners hat this year. Anyway. Hopefully our good luck charm of Brandon Roy comes through. Shout out to Hyper Prime with a $2 dono. And it's in French, and I don't know it yet because we don't have Wemby yet, okay? Once we get Wemby, I'll learn French. But says, I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm going to butcher this. Okay, I'm not. Do you want to try and say it, Eric? Because I certainly have no shot.
Je suis faux de Wemby.
Yes, that sounded very American, but probably better than I could have done.
Yeah, sure. I have no idea.
What does that mean? He probably went to Google Translate just to come up with that one. Mm-hmm. Also, I'm going to refresh my streaming page, so it might lag for a second, but there's no playback and it's bugging me, so won't end the stream.
It means I'm crazy for Wemby.
I'm crazy for Wemby. There we go. It fixed my stream page. I don't know if it lagged at all. Did it lag at all, chat?
I didn't see it lag.
Okay, that's cool. I'm crazy for Wemby, yes. So I know Hoop Intellect just dropped a scouting report on Wemby. I'm going to watch that before the draft lottery tomorrow. Shout out to Hoop Intellect. He's one of the best draft YouTubers out there, in my opinion. Really like his content. Wish he had the time to do more draft profiles, especially on second-round picks. But he does really good work. So if you want to check that out. Yeah, he used to. But dude, it's such a grind. Just compile. How do you even compile all those clips efficiently? Like, it's not possible. So he does good work. There's a lot of time that goes into that, so shout out to him. Shout out Adzi Mac with the $2 Australian dollar dono. Says, I just can't wait to see B-Roy back in Blazers gear. Just to see B-Roy back with a Blazer in his vicinity, a Blazer logo in his vicinity will be cool. So it's awesome that he's representing us.
Now, Roy needs to wear what he wore in 2007.
I know, yeah. It was a suit and a tie, so.
Yeah. No, he didn't have a tie, I think. It was just a shirt underneath.
You sure?
I don't think he had a tie on.
All right, well, I'm going to search it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he just had a shirt with it unbuttoned on the top. Could be wrong.
Yeah, no tie. I was thinking a red tie for some reason. Yeah, no tie.
Nathan Foley said I was 5. Nice. Aeromancer was 9.
Yeah, Krish wasn't born yet.
Hey, Krish, what's up?
Shout out to Krish. Anyway, So we're gonna talk draft combine measurements. We can do that as part of the mock draft.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we just do a Tankathon sim right now.
Sure.
Our final Tankathon sim, and then we do the mock draft based off the order. Is that how you want to do it?
Sure.
Okay. The first Tankathon sim of the season,
Was
the first
Wemby.
official one, we got number 1. Okay. This is the final one. This feels important.
Cameron Weaver with the $2 donation says, I am donating on behalf of the Wemby gods. Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you, Cameron, for your contribution to the Wemby gods.
And just a little bit of backstory real quick.
Yeah.
That was after weeks and weeks of you refusing to do Tankathon because we were not tanking according to you, right?
You didn't ask me for weeks.
No, I mean, like, you were very against any talk
Yeah.
about tanking, bringing up Tankathon, whatever, and you were like, fine, I'll do it, Eric.
Yeah.
And then you do it and you would get Wemby, and then you were like, from then on, you were pretty much okay with it. We were doing it
I had
every
to
stream.
embrace it. That
Yeah.
was a sign. That was a
Yeah.
sign. So, yeah, that was clipped in our season recap. If you never watched that video, it should show up on the main YouTube channel page. It's the one I set to show up because it's like a 45-minute video just recapping the whole season. It's a part of that. It goes into a lot of stuff. So if you missed that video, that's one of my favorite videos I've ever made. It was much like the off-season recap, just the seasonal recap. So definitely go back and watch that if you want to just get the vibes from the season once again. Or the misery, you know. I don't know. I try to make it entertaining and try to focus on the high points as much as the low points.
You should send me a screenshot of the results and I can reveal them with my logos here.
You have logos?
Yeah, I printed some out for tomorrow.
We can do that.
All right, Donna.
Well, nah. I feel like they want it to reveal. Like, I don't know how we do that though.
Donna J. Tor with a 500 rupee donation. What's up, guys? Your biggest fan here. What would be the worst case scenario you guys would be happy with tomorrow?
Number 1.
Is the worst case scenario you'd be happy with?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I'll be happy with top 4. There'll be a little bit of disappointment if we don't get one, but I mean, it's hard to. We're more likely to be 6th or 7th than any other pick, so if we move into the top 4, I'll still be happy.
Actually, you can see my screen through Skype, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, you can see it, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's how we do it.
All right, perfect.
I'll just scroll up from the bottom, but Eric, with your logos here, you're going to reveal the order, okay? You're going to reveal the order. So I'll just scroll up and then you say it.
All right.
Is how I think we do this thing.
And then shout out to Kyle Wilson for a $5 donation. I'm sacrificing a baguette and chocolate eclair for Wemby. Nice.
Let me play through the ads. Freaking ads on the stream, man. God dang it.
Chad, I will go through that as well.
All right, let me go through the ads. And then, because I need to pull it up on my phone because that's the only way I'm going to see the pics. And I'm curious as to what this will actually look like. All right. Okay, I got that ready. All right. I'm going to simulate this thing, scroll to the bottom, Eric, and here we go.
All right. At number 14, we have the New Orleans Hornets.
The New Orleans Hornets.
New Orleans Pelicans.
You're already fired as deputy commissioner. All right.
No, I thought about printing off the old logo.
Yeah.
At 13, we have the Toronto Raptors.
All right. There you go. There's 12.
At 12, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder. At 11, this is where we want Chicago. We want Orlando and Chicago's pick to go to them. So at 11, we have the Orlando Magic. It's looking good so far.
Chalk so far.
At number 10, we need it to be Dallas because we don't want them to move up and save Luka in Dallas. So at number 10, we have the Dallas Mavericks. Let's go. All right. Next up, we have Tori's favorite team to move up, and that's the Utah Jazz. Should be at number 9 as we get to this point. And his browser loves the Utah Jazz. Let's see. We open the envelope, and it's the Utah Jazz. Let's go. All right. At number 8, we need it to be the Washington Wizards. They are up next. And with the 8th pick in the 2023 NBA draft, it will be the Washington Wizards.
Chalk so far. All right, here we go.
Did Troy forget to run it again?
You saw me run it, right?
I don't know.
You were watching the screen.
All right. Next up, we should have the Pacers if everything goes Chuck. At number 7, we have the Indiana Pacers. Let's go. This is getting good, guys. Getting good. Next up, if it's going according to plan, at number 6, we should have the Orlando Magic. And making the 6th pick in the 2023 draft will be your Portland Trailblazers. Darn. Anticlimactic.
Rip.
So Orlando has moved into the top 4. All right. At number 5, we have, this should be the Charlotte Hornets. It is the Houston Rockets. So the Rockets have fallen 3 spots. I didn't run the sim, Jakob. Don't blame me.
Arrow, I was smiling the whole time, bro. I was smiling the whole time. I knew people would be like, oh, Tori reacted like this, so it meant this. I was smiling the whole time. All right, top 4 time, Eric.
All right, top 4 will be the Orlando Magic, Charlotte Hornets, San Antonio Spurs, and Detroit Pistons.
Yep.
And at number 4, we have the Detroit Pistons. They fall
basketball.
from 1 to 4. Sorry, Wheezy. All right. At number 3, we have the Orlando Magic. All right. At number 2, who will be number 2? We have Charlotte and San Antonio left. At number 2, we have the Charlotte Hornets. Which means the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes and the number 1 pick goes to the frickin' San Antonio Spurs.
No. Not the Spurs, man.
Colt says no way you print out the logos. I wanted to put them up like so the people at the watch party tomorrow who aren't necessarily watching the stream can see what the order was without having to keep checking their phones or whatever. So I'm going to tape them up to the wall there. Not necessarily on the stream. But...
All right, let's do a mock draft with this order. Customized draft order. Will fanspo work? Hello. Okay. So it was Spurs, Hornets, Magic.
Jakob, I'll just be reacting like everyone, but I'll put them up afterwards so everyone can see what the order was.
Spurs, Hornets, Magic. Fanspo's being slow right now.
Truly Spencer PDX says, how do we know Silver doesn't like the order and tells them to run it again? Actually, all the teams are in there watching, so he can't do that.
Yeah, doesn't really work like that. Who was? Oh, Detroit was 4, and then Houston was 5, and then Portland was 6, and then everything else was the same. Okay, so let's boot up the mock draft here. All right, let me move it down. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I printed off logos for the Knicks and Bulls. Hopefully, we do not see either of those because that would be bad.
Which picks are forfeited again?
57 and 58s.
The Sixers forfeited a pick?
Yeah.
Okay.
For PJ Tucker tampering.
The 2 picks last year were right next to each other, too. It's kind of strange that 2 years in a row you got 2 forfeited picks right next to each other.
The Bulls, I think, were the other one.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll just do Wizards, Bucks, and then we'll say what 2 players we'd want to sign on 2 ways from the undrafted part, and that'll be 59 and 60. Does that work? Because we have to do 60. I think that works. Shout out to Don and Jay Tor with a 1600 rupee dono, which is, I mean, I don't even know. That's huge. That's a lot. Thank you, Don and Jay. Appreciate you as always, man. The comment is sacrificing a Valorant skin for Wemby. Gods be with us. So I think that was the price of a Valorant skin. So I don't know how much Valorant skins go for, but appreciate it, Don and Jay Tor. It's a 20. That's a 20 bomb. Yes, pink is 20 bomb. Or 100. I don't know. Too much math for me. Too much math, not enough draft. Let's get this thing rolling. Thank you to everybody.
Hold on just a second. I'm loading it up too.
I mean, you can watch my screen.
No, I know. I'm because then it gets like, who do I pick? And I don't want to have to keep asking you to scroll.
Oh, true. Okay, evens or odds? I think you picked for the Blazers last time, right?
I think so, yeah.
So you want to do odds and I'll do evens then?
Sure.
Okay.
Let me just...
I mean, one, I'm just going to draft Wemby.
All right, San Antonio. And then Charlotte.
Orlando. Orlando, Detroit, Houston, Portland.
Why did it put Minnesota there? What the heck?
So did No Ceilings tweet out every single draft measurement, or is there a page for that that's already updated?
There had not been updated on NBA.com yet.
Okay.
And I don't think they tweeted out everyone, but they tweeted out a lot.
Yeah, I know they had a ton.
5 was Houston. Okay. And 6 was Blazers. All right, then Pacers, Wizards, Jazz, Mavericks.
Yeah, the rest is
Okay.
So at 2, after Wemby goes 1, at 2, it's Charlotte. I think Scoot and LaMelo could play together. Scoot's a really good cutter. His three-point shot is a little bit questionable, but he did make strides last year. So, if he can continue to develop that shot and just be like an average to above average shooter with his cutting ability, he can play off LaMelo. not necessarily the cleanest fit, but like Charlotte's not in position, especially with LaMelo having injury issues, like Lonzo had injury issues. Charlotte is not in a position to draft for need or anything at number 2. So here I'm just taking the best player available, and I think that is Scoot Henderson. So Scoot Henderson 2 to the Hornets. Eric, you got Orlando at 3.
Yeah, so I think this is a really good spot for Orlando. I think this is something they need is shooting. They already have a couple of really good forwards in Franz Wagner and Paul Banchero, but I think Miller can play with both of them. And I think the Thompson twins would be nice as well, but you already have Jalen Suggs, you already got Markelle Fultz, some point guards that are decent but don't have the best shot, or at least 3-point shot. So I think rather than take another one of those guys and just hope that one of them pans out, I think Brandon Miller would be the pick for me here for Orlando.
Okay, and I'm going to put our cameras down bottom left. So I want our cameras on screen too. So let me put yours here too.
Well, hello. Ish Fluent is pulling a Chauncey Billups tomorrow, man. That's disappointing.
What does that mean?
I don't know. He's chickening out.
Oh, of the watch party?
No, not of the watch party, of just watching it in general.
Just watch it in general?
He said he doesn't have the courage to watch it live, man.
Oh, if we're all going to watch it together, man, if I have the courage to watch it live, as a content creator covering this team, like desperately need Wemby, then you can watch it, man. You can watch it. We're all in it together, right? So
Tyler RRRR59 with a $5 donation, sacrificing my left testy for Wemby.
Wow, that's quite the sacrifice, man. Hopefully you have some in the bank.
I'm already on record. People have it screenshotted that I would sacrifice a testy for Wemby as well. So,
well, now they can.
Yeah.
Now they can. You gave them another shot to screenshot. So Brandon Miller. Okay, number 4 is Detroit. Go ahead.
I mean, I've had kids. I have been fixed anyway, so who cares?
Do you want to do trades as part of this? Chat, say yes or no. If it's over,
not for now, because it's kind of it's like a long process as it is.
Yeah, but what if chat wants it, Eric? Nah, too complicated, says Jakob and Eric Olsen. All right. Or we could just do draft pick trades. I don't know. At 4 with Detroit, I'm not a big fan of the spot for them. I think clearly the best player on the board is Amen Thompson, who measured today and measured basically 6'6" with shoes with a 7-foot wingspan. Same with the SAR. So like they have legitimate small forward size. They can play the 3. They might need to put on gain a little bit of strength to be able to handle some guys at that position, but that's what I was looking for with those two. Do they have true small forward size? 6'6", 7-foot wingspan, that's small forward size. Absolutely. So those guys can play the 3. I love Amen. As a prospect. Just his athleticism, he'd be an elite athlete right away. Shots questionable, but like potentially as a cutter and in transition, that's going to be the key for Detroit. Like, he could fit well there. It's just obviously as an off-ball half-court player next to like Cade and Ivy, he doesn't make a ton of sense, but I don't think Detroit's in a position where you draft for need at 4, especially with, in my opinion, a clear-cut top prospect on the board in Amen Thompson. So I would, if I was Detroit, look to maybe move this pick and get value with Amen on the board here at 4. But if you had to take a prospect, I think you still got to go with Amen Thompson. That's also why I asked if we should do trades or not, because that's what I was going to look at.
Yeah. All right. At number 5, we have the Houston Rockets. Now, this is a really weird spot because, much like I was talking about with the Magic, they have a couple of young guards that have questionable outside shots, but can get to the basket. So is that really a need? They took Jabari Smith last year. They also have Tari Eason. Shengu is still young. They got Ime Udoka coming in. Possibly James Harden, it looks like.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think Jarris Walker makes a lot of sense for them. He looked very beefy today. Looked like he had put on some muscle, but his athletic drills were he looked really quick and athletic in the drills. So I'm gonna take Walker. He played for Houston last year in college, so you're getting kind of a hometown person there. And yeah, I think I'm gonna take Walker over Asar because I just think he fits a little bit better on that team.
All right, so Jarris Walker. So now Portland's at 6, and there's really only 2 guys I would consider here, Eric. And that is Asar Thompson and Taylor Hendricks. Taylor Hendricks today measured at a little over, let's see, I had his measurements up, and I scrolled somewhere else.
Very good measurements.
A shade over 6'8" without shoes, with a 7-foot half-inch wingspan. So legitimate power forward size, and I think enough size to play small ball 5. Mm-hmm. He's going to be a small ball 5, like if he's like 6'10", just a little bit bigger, where he could consistently play the 5, especially after putting on some strength, and he'd be an absolute problem and matchup nightmare at that spot, but still at the 4, being able to play small ball 5, being able to shoot the way he can, I like Taylor Hendricks a lot. But then Asar, I think, is the best player left on the board. He has a better shot than Amen, and he's a really good cutter, really good off-ball player, and potentially a lockdown perimeter defender, which is what this Blazer team needs. With him having the size to play the 3, I think you can go Asar Thompson. Now, the question mark is, how well can he shoot at the next level? But being a guy that can lock down on the ball, push in transition, be a little bit of a facilitator. I feel like he could be a little bit of a Josh Hart, just, more athletic, kind of a different player, but still has some of the same strengths. But maybe be a really good on-ball defender from day one because he has the physical gifts, he has the talent, he has the measurements. I think he can guard 3 positions. So I'm going to Asar Thompson here at 6.
Interesting. Didn't we get Asar at the last time we did this too?
I think so. I think so. I'm happy with either one of the Thompson twins. I think Asar might be a better fit day one, though. Mm-hmm. Amen is just higher upside.
All right, at number 7. So I think we had this problem last time too, but I know you don't like Cam Whitmore, but I love Cam Whitmore, and I think he's going to be a really good player in the NBA. However, I just think he's too much of a Benedict Mathurin clone, and he kind of measured more shooting guard small forward size today than small forward power forward size, which a lot of people were hoping. So I actually think that the Pacers, especially if they keep Miles Turner, this guy would slide in and be the perfect 4 for what they have going on there. They could still run guard lineups, but have a little bit better perimeter defender at the 4. That's what they've been missing. We heard they were interested in someone like John Collins this year at the trade deadline, and I think this guy would be a much better fit than John Collins and better shooter, and that's Taylor Hendricks.
All right, Taylor Hendricks at 7. Here's where we get to the interesting part, Eric. Because the thing is with Cam Whitmore, like, he's just tough for me to figure out. Because I don't think he'll ever be like a super high level off the dribble creator for others or himself. But then again, like, neither is Jaylen Brown, and look how good Jaylen Brown is. And that's kind of like the best like upside comp for Cam Whitmore. Is he's going to cut, he's going to play in transition, he's going to bully his way to the rim, he'll get some, putbacks here and there. Like, he'll just find a way to get points. I can see him becoming a 20-point-per-game scorer just in terms of, like, finding ways to get points. It's just hard for me to be super bullish on that without seeing that high-level creator upside, just because I'm not a fan of the way he reads the game or sees the court. That's kind of where I'm at with Cam Whitmore. So, like, I don't know if that's super negative, but that's how I see him. With Washington at 8, they really need a legitimate point guard next to Bradley Beal. They have some forwards. You got Gafford at the center. He's okay. I think this is, I don't know, Derek Lively here I feel like is a little bit too high. As far as Anthony Black goes, he didn't measure too well. Same with Grady Dick.
Grady measured okay.
I wasn't happy with it. I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go Cason Wallace here because I think he can be a lockdown defender. He measured in at 6'3". I think he's a fit next to Bradley Beal. If you're gonna keep Bradley Beal in Washington, I want a point guard that I can feel like can come in and maybe start right away and just be like steady on the offensive end and then be a really good player defensively because Bradley Beal is not a good defensive player. And I feel like that's Cason Wallace. Without, like, I can't figure out Washington's direction, so it's hard to make a pick for them because it's just like, I don't know what the hell they're doing. But given the direction they've been on, I think Cason Wallace would make some sense here, so I'm going Cason Wallace at 8.
All right.
At 9, you got your Utah Jazz.
And if I'm Utah, I'm freaking stoked right now because having Cam Whitmore fall to 9, I feel like he could play with Agbaji. Agbaji had pretty good measurements last year in terms of like whether he's a shooting guard or small forward. So I'm taking Cam Whitmore at 9 and just being super stoked about it.
All right, Whitmore at 9. There's a comment that says Whitmore's like Jalen Brunson, and that makes absolutely no sense to me because Cam Whitmore is nothing like Jalen Brunson. The only similarity is that they played at Villanova. So I don't really understand that comparison at all. But Whitmore at 9 would have been my pick for Utah as well. I like that a lot. Okay, at 10, you got the Mavericks, and they made the Kyrie trade, and then, like, if they have this pick, they're trading it. They're trading it. If they were to draft somebody, I mean, I don't even know. Like, you got a bunch of guards here. You got a bunch of guards. I feel like they need front court depth. If anything, this is the hardest pick of the lottery. For me, I mean, you could just go guard off the bench, third guard.
Elizabeth Allen's saying if this lined up that OKC would be trading up to 10 to take Black. But Black's too similar to, they already got Shea monopolizing the ball, and Giddey is, a good secondary ball handler too. So I don't know if they really need another one of those players that can't shoot.
Yeah, so I'm just going to draft for archetype and draft for role here. they don't really have like that 3-point specialist knockdown shooter. And with Luka being like a 6-7 point guard, Kyrie too, like I think Jordan Hawkins here could make sense. I think this is kind of like the top of his range. But yeah, like I don't see them keeping this pick, but if they keep this pick, like drafting for an archetype of a shooter makes a lot of sense. And I love Jordan Hawkins' movement shooting. So I'm going to go him at 10.
All right. Are you concerned at all about his measurements today?
He was what, 6'4"?
6'4" with like a 6'6" wingspan or something.
Yeah. See, like that's where when you have Luka, who's like a big point guard,
right.
like a 6'7" point guard, I'm less worried about that next to Luka. Yeah. So that's kind of the thought process there.
For a shooter, I'm not as much concerned about wingspan. If he was more of a driver, then that probably wouldn't bode well for the NBA. But yeah.
So I'm going Hawkins there at 10. All right, 11 is the Magic.
All right, so the Magic took Brandon Miller earlier. They passed on Amen. So there's any number of ways they could go here. I think at this point you just take the best player on the board. I don't think this person is necessarily the best player, but consensus kind of makes him that. So I'm going to take Anthony Black. You're muted, by the way.
Oh, I am muted. Oh, when did I mute myself? I don't even remember. OKC's at a point where they could draft for need. They have so many picks, but also, you want upside with each one of those picks. I think a guy that kind of fills a need and has upside and has a high floor is Derek Lively. I like Derek Lively with Chet as a rim protection duo. Could be very intriguing. Didn't get his measurements today, unfortunately. Very curious to see what he measures in at. Fanspo, I think, is lying here saying 7'2". But Lively with Chet would be a very imposing front court duo of the future. So I'm going to go Lively at 12 for OKC.
All right.
13, we got Toronto.
There's several players that I would be really high on right now, and I would be ecstatic if they were on the board. Obviously, Toronto needs shooting. They might lose Gary Trent this offseason as well. They got to figure out a contract extension with Fred VanVleet. So they could look to maybe get the point guard in the future here. Jalen Hood-Schifino did measure very well, 6'10" wingspan, almost 6'4", with the way he can handle the ball. Very intriguing there. But I think getting a potential best shooter in the draft right here at 13 is something they need, especially if they keep, obviously they're still going to keep Scotty Barnes. And if they keep one of OG and Siakam, I think shooting will help them out. So I would go Grady Dick here.
All right, Grady Dick. 13 for Toronto. I like this as kind of the top of his range. I don't agree with like big boards and mock drafts that have him top 10, especially after he measured today. Let me find the measurements. He measured today basically like, here it is, 6'6" without shoes. So like height wise, okay, fine for a small forward, but wingspan is under 6'9". So
who's this?
Grady Dick.
Oh.
6'8" 3/4 for the wingspan. So interesting to see what his standard reach is. Like he's probably a little small for the small forward position, but could play it. I don't know. He's a shooter, but beyond that, I don't know how much more he could be. So he's just kind of like in the Jordan Hawkins class for me. Like they're kind of similar in my opinion, both those guys. Grady Dick's just a little bigger. So late lottery, I'm cool with Grady Dick being drafted there. Top 10, I don't understand it because I've seen that on a lot of mocks and big boards. I just don't think he has the level of upside to justify that. So that's my opinion on him. At 14, we got New Orleans. And at here, I mean, they could use like a true point guard to move CJ back to the shooting guard position. However, I don't think you really have a true point guard here. Like Hood Schifino's a combo guard. Nick Smith Jr. is a combo guard. Kobe Buffkin's a combo guard. So do you want another combo guard with CJ? It doesn't really make a ton of sense to me. I love Leonard Miller, and I love what he measured today, Eric.
He gained 3/4 of an inch since last combine.
He's 6'9.25" without shoes with a 7'2" wingspan.
Mm-hmm.
That's like borderline center size.
Yeah.
With ball skills, and he can
Elite
rebound
rebounding.
really well.
Yep.
I mean, you could make the case that like Leonard Miller long term, if he can put on strength, is like a skilled center.
His shot looked good today too, or not bad.
Yeah, like there's a chance that Leonard Miller is like on the top 10 of my, like, I don't know. At this point, I'm not like set on where I have certain guys, but I think Leonard Miller is easily a top 15 player, especially with those measurements, with his skills, agility. Like I'm taking him here at 14 to New Orleans.
I currently have him 9 on my big board. So
yeah, see, I don't know. I haven't messed with my big board after the measurements have come out, but I could definitely see myself putting him top 10.
I've had him 9 for like months. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
We were on board the Leonard Miller trade last year too, so this isn't anything new. Leonard Miller fans right here. Unfortunately, it looks like he or Derek Lively aren't falling to 23. Those were the two guys I really liked there. 15, you got Atlanta, Eric.
All right. Let me see. You took Leonard Miller.
All right, let me think this dono. Fly Guy 95 with a $5 dono. Thank you, Fly Guy. Says, my job only lets us wear Blazers gear if they make the Western Conference Finals. Should I take the slap on the wrist and rock a Blazers hat tomorrow? I mean, if you think it'll bring them good luck, then do it. I mean, sometimes you got to sacrifice for what you really, really want, right? That's a life lesson for all you guys. It's not life advice yet, but that's a life lesson. But if you don't think it'll bring them good luck, then don't do it. Whatever will bring this team Wemby, we are willing to do.
The failure isn't your company's policies. It's your responsibility to. You've known May 16th was the date for months now. You should have requested it off, switched with someone, done something so you did not have to be at work and having to make that decision of whether you can get in trouble by wearing a hat tomorrow. So yeah, wear the hat, but you should have, man. You should have thought about that before.
No, we're at 15, Atlanta.
All right. So if I'm Atlanta here, I think there's just a bunch of guards. And I know I don't necessarily need a guard, but I think I'm just taking the best player available. Now, who that is might be a bit of a debate. But you made the big trade for DeJounte Murray. There's not really any bigs here that can help you really in this range.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to take the best guard. And I would prefer if that guard could shoot and doesn't necessarily need the ball in his hands, because we know both DeJounte and Trey work a little better off the ball. So with that in mind, I'm probably going to take Keontae George here.
All right, Keontae George. Now we got Utah at 16. I'm drafting for them this time. You took Cam Whitmore. They got Colin Sexton, who's going to be representing them at the lottery. They could go for a...
And for the record, I would have taken... I thought about taking Miller earlier, actually, but I didn't think you would do it, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, 16, you got Utah. And...
Derp Jones with a $2 donation. Where do you find player measurements? Player measurements are not official yet, but No Ceilings on Twitter has been posting them. It's a draft Twitter follow. Pretty good one if you're looking for that. But yeah, just search No Ceilings Twitter and they have a thread with all the important combine measurements from today.
Yep. So with Cam Whitmore being in the backcourt, because I think he projects more as a 2 than a 3, I want probably point guard here, but a point guard, probably the best passing point guard, because there's multiple point guards here who you could take, or 3 off the top of my head, with Nick Smith Jr., Hood Schifino, and Buffkin. Hood Schifino's the best passer of the 3. He is not my favorite of the 3. But with Cam Whitmore in the backcourt, I think you need somebody who's a bit more of a facilitator, but also has scoring upside. And out of the 3, it's probably Hood Schifino. I don't think he's necessarily a pure point guard, but I think he's the closest. So that's what I'm going with.
All right.
At 17, you got the Lakers.
All right, the Lakers. I think, as always, they need guard depth, shooting, all that kind of stuff. So I think there's 2 players here, both Nick Smith Jr. and Jet Howard, I think would be great fits for the Lakers, and I'd be happy with either one of them. But I just take Nick Smith and hope that most of his downplay this year was injury related, and that if he gets back to where he was heading into the season or how highly he was thought of, that you get an absolute star here at 17.
Yep. Miami at 18. I am thrilled with who's on the board at 18 as the eventual Kyle Lowry replacement and somebody who I think could play well off of Jimmy Butler. That is Kobe Buffkin.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched more tape on him lately. I'm really starting to like his game at 6'4". Great finisher around the rim. Kind of a combo guard, but can hit step backs, can knock down some threes. I think needs to become a little better as a shooter to truly be like a really good off-ball player in the NBA, but his shot looks good. His mechanics look good. Solid athlete, just creative offensive player. Also has some defensive upside. Just feels like a Heat player and feels like a steal here at 18. 6'4". What did he measure at today? I think it was like 6'4" and a quarter.
Yeah, 6'4" or something.
Yeah.
Decent wingspan.
Mm-hmm.
Good size, yeah.
Yeah. Good enough size to be a shooting guard. But when you got Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler, having a guy that can play the point but also play off the ball makes a lot of sense. So I love Kobe Buffkin here at 18 for Miami.
Yeah. And for those asking, yeah, not everyone measured or took place today. I'm not sure if they'll get that tomorrow. But some players, this is the last year that they're not required to do anything. So some people probably chose not to measure. So I hate it, but just how it's going to be for this last season.
Yep. 19, you got Golden State, Eric.
All right, Golden State. I mean, you can make an argument they would do well with any position here. There are several guys that I think could really help them. Jet Howard shooting would be great here, I think. I also think getting an athletic big like Noah Clowney as Draymond gets older and stuff. I think he could play alongside him too. It's both intriguing. But I like Jet Howard more, so I'm just going to take the shooting there, Jet Howard.
All right, Jet Howard at 19. So at 20, you got the Houston Rockets, who took Jarris Walker with their 5th pick. I don't know, man. Because you could draft for upside with Gigi Jackson, but you just took a 4, and I don't think you need another like ball dominant player there. So maybe somebody that can play off the ball. But they could go stash, which I don't know if Repair's stashable. You might want to come over right away, but 6'6" with like a 7'2" wingspan he measured with. Solid defensive player, but raw offensively. I mean, that's kind of the type of player that the Rockets need here with that 2nd pick. Just kind of a project like that could be a lockdown defensive piece. not like I don't think they need a G.G. Jackson to put next to like Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., Sengun. Like, just doesn't really make much sense. So I'm gonna go Ryan. Rayon. I don't know how to say his first name yet.
I guess it's Ryan.
Ryan Rupert. With the 20th pick. So 21st, you got the Brooklyn Nets, Eric.
All right, the Nets. They need. I mean, they have a lot of wings, but they might trade some of them. So I think they'd probably go best player available. I think they could use a better point guard than I can't say it, but Dinwiddie Island and but yeah, there's unfortunately most of the point guards are gone now. So this is a tough decision. You have the upside potential of Koulibaly, and you have two really good wings in Sensabaugh and Whitehead. And so yeah, I'd have a tough time here, but ultimately I think I would just take Derek and also hope that his injury kind of limited him this season and that he gets back to kind of what he showed in high school.
All right, Derek there. So at this point, like, there's not really a point guard on the board other than like a Marcus Sasser, who I could see taking this high. But I mean, they have so many wings. They just took Derek. Sasser's solid, but I don't know. I want to go front court here. Cam Johnson's free agent. I think they bring him back. But like Finney Smith, they have listed as a power forward on Fanspo. I think he's more of a wing. I think they consolidate some of their wing depth, and I think they could look for a backup four behind Cam Johnson that could kind of play a similar role. And that, I think, is Chris Murray. So,
Murray. I thought you were going to take Clowney.
No. 23 is Portland.
All right, so the Blazers are back on the board. Yeah, it's frustrating because they took another, shooting guard, small forward type. So best player I think is left is by far Sensabaugh. But I just have trouble fitting another one of those guys. Now maybe if you traded Ant and Sharp or something, you had like a huge trade for Embiid or something, maybe that would make sense. But as it stands right now, without trades, I would be very tempted to take GG. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but I do think that he is the kind of player that like fits with our young core. Obviously not what Dame wants or what this team has talked about wanting or anything like that, but it would be interesting to see a guy who's a legit 6'8" and can do the things he can do with both Sharp and Anthony.
Let me just say this is like the type of scenario I'd be okay with during the 23rd pick.
Yeah.
Like if Leonard Miller isn't on board, Derek Lively is on the board, and it's like this kind of collection of players, then yeah, that's where it changes.
I'm not the biggest Clowney fan either, although I do think he does have more of an NBA type game than college. I think he'll be better than he was at Alabama. And then I'd maybe think about reaching on someone like James Najee here, just maybe you stash him, or maybe you think he can come over and provide that. But we also are probably going to bring back Ibu Baji, and is he really that much different than him? Mm-hmm. So I think at this point, I'm actually going to crap.
This is tough. Yeah, I have no idea who I'd take.
Chat.
I have a name in mind that you haven't said, but Who does chat want? Chat, who do you want? Let us know in the comment section.
If we're trading Anthony too, I definitely would think about Sasser here. I do not like Lewis, so I'm not taking him, although he did measure well today. But I'm sick of players that are good offensive players.
He makes sense for the right team, just not Portland.
Yeah. But yeah, I think ultimately I would just choose the best player left. So even though it doesn't make sense, I'm going to take Bryce Sensabaugh.
Bryce Sensabaugh. All right.
Came all the way back around.
Bryce Sensabaugh. All right. Yeah, I don't know what I would have done there at all, but a couple people in chat said GG. Okay, 24 Sacramento. I love a particular player for Sacramento because I think they could use like one more potential lockdown defender, and they play at a super fast pace. And this guy measured well today. Eric, I've had him as a first round caliber prospect for a while. He's rising to that point. But I had him as a first round caliber prospect back when he was like late second round is how he was looked at. And I'm going to take him here at 24 because I think he's just a great fit in Sacramento, and that is Andre Jackson Jr. out of UConn.
All right.
If we were in that situation, but like we took Jarris over Asar, I would definitely consider him for 23.
Yeah, for sure.
I like him. I like him a lot. And he measured like 6'6" without shoes, I believe. With like a solid wingspan, if I recall correctly.
Portland does not have 3 second-round picks. They have 1 second-round pick, 43.
I wish they had 3 seconds.
I mean, they just traded him on.
I know.
All right, so the Grizzlies are on the clock. I think they're a team that isn't afraid to take some risks, but you know they have the questionable jaw situation now. So this is a tough spot for them. I think they just take highest upside player, and I think they take GG here.
I will say this. Colby Jones just feels like a Grizzly to me.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Pacers at 26. Took Hendricks at 7.
Spencer asked if we can talk about Ja a little. I mean, there's not much to say. He's a dumbass.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got no awareness, and that's not good for your franchise player.
Yeah. Pacers at 26. This is the range of the draft where it's just extremely difficult.
Sven says JJJ and GGJ.
Since you got shooters, I think at this point you can just swing for upside in terms of athleticism, and especially a guy who could be a really good defensive player, because that's kind of what the Pacers need. And it's a guy that measured well, 6'7" without shoes, 6'10". Wingspan, but like he did not make or take a 3 in college last year. But then there was a clip of him shooting threes at the combine today, and he was basically making everything, and his form looked solid, not perfect, but solid. So you know, if he can develop into a shooter, he could be a steal at this point in the draft, and that is Dylan Mitchell out of Texas. That's who I'm going with for Indiana at 26.
All right.
27 is Charlotte.
All right, so Charlotte got Scoot Henderson to go along with LaMelo Ball earlier. They still need all kinds of help everywhere. I think they're kind of in a tough spot here, too, because there's several guards on the board. And they obviously don't need a guard. So I think they do something smart for once and go with Coulibaly.
All right, Koulibaly. At 28, you got Utah, which took Cam Whitmore and Jalen Hood-Schifino. uh, I mean, Like, what does Utah need at this point, then? They have a four-guard rotation of Hood-Schifino, Clarkson, Sexton, and Whitmore. They don't have a three. Whitmore could slide up, play some three. But I guess you could go for a small forward, although Laurie can play some small forward.
You say Baji too?
Oh, yeah, you got Agbaji, too.
Clarkson has a player option. He might not be.
I think, yeah. I think just swinging for upside, especially offensive upside, makes sense for Utah. So at 28, I'm just going to go with Max Lewis.
Okay.
29 is Indiana again. They took Hendricks and Dylan Mitchell.
All right. So I think I'm just going to continue to add depth to their front court and go with Noah Clowney here.
All right. Noah Clowney. And 19. All right. At 29. At 30, with the Clippers, they need depth. Maybe a Swiss Army knife type player. Colby Jones makes a lot of sense here. I like him higher than this. Just the teams that I had, I wanted to swing for upside. Colby Jones is more of an NBA-ready player that could play a couple of roles. The problem is he didn't measure super well at the Combine. Shout out to Aeromancer for posting the measurements. Thank you, Aeromancer. So Aeromancer will post Colby Jones's measurements, but measured a little smaller than I thought, so that takes a little of the love off him. Yeah, 6'4.5" without shoes, 6'8" wingspan. Still big enough to play the 2, but undersized for the 3. But just a guy that can pass the ball, good floater, knock down threes at a high level this year, kind of plays at his own pace, just solid. Probably comes in and plays a bench role right away for the Clippers. So Colby Jones at 30.
All right.
31 is Detroit.
All right. So they got Amen at 4 earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really need a big, so I would think about taking Najee here. But I mean, they don't really need a guard either. I'm just going to take highest upside right here. I don't think there's a lot of good like role players here in this range, but I don't think they're at the point that they need those kind of players yet. So I'm going to take Terquavion Smith.
Okay. I like that pick. Feels like a really good sixth man down the line. All right, at 32, you got the Spurs. They took Wembanyama with their first pick. I wish Koulibaly was still on the board just to, pair Wemby with someone who's on his team right now. But they kind of need a long-term point guard. I don't think Trey Jones is that. I don't think Devontae Graham's definitely not that. Problem is a little too low to probably find your long-term point guard. So, I mean, with San Antonio in their position, I think you can just swing for upside. They have a lot of wings, but it's hard for me to pass up Sissoko here.
All right.
33 is Boston.
All right, Boston's finally on the board. They might be coming off a championship here. I think this is kind of like a luxury pick, so I think they can pretty much just take whatever they want. So I'm just gonna take Najee.
All right.
Just kind of best player on the board philosophy.
Okay, 34 Hornets. They took Koulibaly. They took Henderson. They need defense. They need defense. Also, they could use a big. I don't know enough about Vukcevic, or however you say his name. He can shoot, right?
He measured well too.
And he measured it. I measured at 6'11". I think I'm just gonna go with him. Admittedly, I need to learn a lot more about his game. Obviously, him not playing in college, but just being a guy that can shoot next to Scoot and LaMelo and has size is intriguing to me. So that's what I'm gonna roll with. Stashable, and that's their third pick. So Vukcevic. All right, 35. You got OKC. They took Lively at 12.
All right. So they're kind of in a weird spot where they now kind of can just keep adding spots and do whatever. And I don't know who that person would be in the spot. So I'm just going to take Jaquez, just add some more shooting, and he had a pretty good day at the combine today. So
yeah, I was surprised to see his vertical at 39 inches. Didn't really seem like a leaper like that, but all right. 36 Orlando. They took Brandon Miller and Anthony Black. I mean, they traded Mo Bamba, so you could go center. I think you have a lot on the perimeter already, especially with Miller and Black, so I'm just going to go with a Dembona. All right, 37 OKC again.
Bona did not measure very well.
What did he measure?
He was like 6'8", I think, with like a 7-foot wingspan or something. If I don't know, Aeromancer, do you got that one?
Yeah, there's just teams in this range with like a ton on the perimeter, and there's not a lot of bigs is the problem.
6'8.25" with a 7'1/4" wingspan, so just over 7-foot wingspan. So he's not really center size.
Yeah, I'm not big on him whatsoever. Just, I mean, the only other centers here, are like Edey and Kalkbrenner.
All right, so I didn't take this person a few picks ago, but I'm going to take him now. And I saw Elizabeth Allen's question earlier, so I'll answer that now. So this person, it was kind of a mixed bag for me today because he didn't quite measure as well as I was hoping. It kind of similar to what we just talked about with Bona. But the athletic drills I saw him in, he looked a lot more athletic than I thought he would be in those. And that's Deron Holmes. So still one of my favorite prospects, and I am taking him here for the Thunder.
Yeah, maybe that would have been the better pick for Orlando. He was all the way down there at 62 on ESPN. I disagree with that. Sacramento, after taking Andre Jackson with the 24th pick, now have the 38th pick. I don't know. I don't know. You could go big. It's another one of those teams that kind of needs a big. You have a ton on the wings. Like, what do they even need? They got Fox and Davion Mitchell. They got Herter. Terrence Davis played a little bit in the playoffs. Malik Monk. Small forward, I guess. Harrison Barnes. You could maybe try and find a replacement there. Keegan Murray's a 4. Yeah, maybe just another shooter. You do have Andre Jackson as well. I mean, at this point, I think you just kind of swing for some upside, and the player with maybe the most upside left, I guess, might be like a Coleman Hawkins, just a guy with a ton of size that can handle a little bit and pass a little bit, and wasn't that good of a college player, kind of out of control, but has some intriguing things to him. So that's who I'm going with, because at this point, I don't really know exactly what the Kings would need in terms of like a safer prospect, such as a Sasser. You got Mitchell and Fox, doesn't make much sense. Trace Jackson Davis, I would hate him on a team with Domantas Sabonis. So, yeah, that's who I'm going with.
Who'd you pick?
Coleman Hawkins.
Okay. All right. Picking for the fourth time in this mock, we have the Charlotte Hornets again. They've taken a couple international guys and Scoot. I think this isn't a bad fit for Trace Jackson Davis. He can kind of play make a little bit. Shot didn't look terrible, though he airballed a couple today. But doesn't like to shoot threes, but you have those guards. I'll just take Trace Jackson Davis here.
All right. At 40, we got the Denver Nuggets. Honestly, a backup point guard to Jamal Murray could make sense. That wasn't really Reggie Jackson. Especially one that can shoot, that can score. I'm going to go Marcus Sasser here.
That is a good pick for the Nuggets.
Charlotte Hornets again with another pick. Have fun.
I'm going to go with someone who also looked decent today, and that's Jordan Walsh.
Jordan Walsh, I like that pick for Charlotte. I was thinking about going Walsh at 34, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So, measured well. Good defensive player. That's what Charlotte needs. 42 is Washington. They took Casey Wallace at 8. Once again, I don't know their freaking ambitions or their goals or where they're going with this roster whatsoever. Like, I mean, they have a lot of depth at these spots. Honestly, I'd probably want a big or stash this pick, and I am not impressed with any of the bigs here, so
really
I'll do a
lot.
stash. Yeah, I'll do Durisic. 43 is Portland, Eric.
All right.
There is one guy I really like here for Portland, by the way.
There's a couple guys I really like for Portland here. Is yours a homer pick?
No. Although I would also like him.
Yeah. Actually, I think this player, God, it sucks we already took two players that play basically the same position. But I really like Jalen Wilson as kind of like a hustle, do it all defender, can play make a little bit, can didn't have the best shooting season, but his scoring jumped way up, and also he I don't know. I think he had kind of he had a lot of tough shots, so that could explain some of his 3-point percentage and stuff like that. But I think he would be a really good player for Chauncey. So just ignoring kind of the fact that we already took two people about his size, I'm going to take Jalen Wilson here and just keep adding wings until we find someone.
Yeah. He did not measure. I thought he was going to measure better than what he measured. I was surprised. 6'5.5" without shoes, 6'8" wingspan.
Yeah.
He might be a little undersized for 3. He might be a little undersized for the 3. 44. I'm not going to take the guy I would have really liked for Portland, but Kobe Brown is the guy I would really like for Portland. Shot 45% from 3 last year. Measured in decently well. 6'6.5", but with like a 7'1" wingspan. 250 pounds, so physical guy that can knock down the 3 at a really high clip. But for San Antonio swinging for upside, he doesn't make a ton of sense. I think you could go maybe... You could maybe go for some upside at that point guard spot that I talked about earlier. So Amari Bailey is who I'm going to roll with for San Antonio. 6'3" measured in at today. Now you got Memphis at 45, took Gigi Jackson at 25, Eric.
All right. I think they take this player and just kind of hope he turns into another Jaren Jackson type player. And I think you can kind of mold him in that regard, and that's Muhammad McGee from Washington State.
All right.
Who measured very well.
46, Atlanta. Took Keontae George. With John Collins potentially being on the outs, they could use a 4 that could shoot. So actually, this is where I'm going to take Kobe Brown. 47, Lakers.
All right, so I think Lakers are obviously still, they're probably going to still be in that window where they're trying to go for winning players, players that are kind of established. It won't take a long time. So there's a few good ones on the board, but I think really this pick comes down to 2 players for me. And I just like Keontae Johnson's toughness a little more than the other ones, so I'm going to take Keontae.
I like it. I like it a lot. 48, the Clippers took Colby Jones with the 30th pick. I mean, they're just going to get absolutely insane value out of these 2 picks, in my opinion, because Julian Strother is still on the board, and I think he's an early second-round guy, measured in a little better than I expected. Legitimate 6'6" without shoes. 6'9" wingspan, so has the size to play the 3, and I think that's his best position defensively, but can really knock down the 3 ball, and then when he's ran off the line has a really good floater as well. Gonzaga players have actually panned out pretty well coming into the league. Just look at Andrew Nembhard last year, 31st pick, and he was really, really good for that draft selection. So Julian Strother at 48 I think is great value.
All right.
49 is Cleveland.
Cleveland making their first appearance here. I mean, Posnitsky is probably going to fall a little bit, I think, because he didn't measure well today. It's kind of undersized.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they'd take him. Shannon would be a safe pick, but I don't think they go there. I'm actually, I think this would be a good spot for him. This player, because they have scores already. But this guy wouldn't have a lot of pressure on him to be that right away. Maybe he can just continue to develop. I'm going to go with Monty Bates here.
Imani Bates already. 50 is Indiana. They took Hendricks, Mitchell, and Clowney, so front court guys. I mean, they're kind of set on the perimeter. So they could go for a stash guy. Yeah, I'm gonna take Njai, however you say his name, as a stash guy with the 4th pick.
By the way, Bates somehow has a slightly positive wingspan now.
Yeah, his arms grew, I guess. I guess he was like stretching out in his free time. I don't know how he did that, but all right, we got Nets at 51.
I think this is a good spot for Pods, so I'll just take him here.
All right, Suns at 52. The Phoenix Suns at 52. All right. I think there's one guy who's the best player on the board, and the Suns need so much depth. You could go for any position here. But just like a really good athlete who could be a solid scorer at the next level, if he develops well, is Ricky Council the 4th. That's what I'm going with for Phoenix.
Okay.
53 is Minnesota.
Minnesota. They have a very interesting offseason ahead of them.
Malcolm Casalon is still not entered the draft yet. Like, I saw his name earlier.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on their board.
I feel like I've seen him on draft boards for like 6 years.
I'm not sure if this person is going to stay in the draft, although I did like his measurements today. I think he could potentially be a good defensive player in the NBA and has some potential scoring the ball as well, and that's Arthur Kaluma.
All right, Kaluma. Where is he?
Down at 87 down there.
All right,
way down there.
Yeah, got him. Cool. 54 is the Kings.
So no, Tyrese Proctor is not in this draft. He went back to Duke.
So for the Kings, I think they could go with just like the highest upside on the board, and that's probably Judah Mintz, shifty guy. Hard to really get a feel for his defense in Syracuse. They still run the Boeheim, or Boeheim was there last year, right? Or
yeah, that was he just got ousted
last year.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's the thing with Syracuse players is like they were under Boeheim. They've always ran zone, so it's hard to get a feel for a lot of man-to-man defensive stuff. He also didn't measure super great, if I recall correctly. I think he
was small, yeah.
Yeah. I think his wingspan was small too, but just with the way he moves with the ball in his hands, shifty, creative, decent athlete, like at this point in the draft, that probably gives him the highest upside left on the board, so that's what I'm going with.
All right.
55 is Indiana. This is their 5th pick.
Personally, I am not a huge fan of this guy, but he had a pretty good day at the combine. Has some potential as a passing big, and that's Grant Nelson.
I like it. Where's he at?
He's down like 90, 89, yeah.
56 is the Grizzlies. They took Guy Jackson, short up their front court. Jalen Clark didn't measure super well, 6'4" without shoes. I thought he might be a little bit bigger, and he has the injury, but he's just an impactful player, really good defensive piece. I could see the Grizzlies taking a liking to him, and with how much depth they have, and this being their third pick, they wouldn't need anything from him whatsoever. So I like that for them. I'm gonna take Jalen Clark.
Okay.
So this pick has not been forfeited. We moved Washington up to 57. There's 2 picks left. This Washington pick and then the Bucks.
All right. So we got Washington here.
Yeah.
All right. At this point, I am just looking for some value here. And this is a guy who, when I was watching another player in this draft, always kind of stood out as a good rebounder, hustler guy, defender, pretty smart player. Not the best offensive skill set, but I think he could develop that a little bit. But he's just one of those guys who could be a glue guy and impact winning, and that's Samani Kamara from Dayton.
Where is he? There he is. Okay. And then at 58, last pick in the draft, the Bucks. I mean, they need more shot creation. The best shot creator by far left on the board is Mike Miles out of TCU.
Oh.
So, not great size, undersized point guard, but can score the ball. Has a chip on his shoulder.
I was actually, I did not think there was any way he would measure over 6 feet tall, and
really?
so that's good, right?
Yeah.
He looked like 5'10", but
yeah.
But
he plays hard and can really score the ball. Dynamic scorer in college, so maybe he can translate that to the league. Last pick of the draft, Isaiah Thomas was the last pick of the draft. Of course, he was 5'9", but he became a really good NBA player. Injuries just kind of derailed that. So Mike Miles there, I like him for Milwaukee. All right, the two-way guys. I'll go first. I think if you want to swing for the most upside left, especially in a front court position, because we just took 3 wings in this draft. What did Olivier Maxence Prosper measure?
not sure. I don't think it was posted by No Ceilings.
I thought it was. I'm looking right now. But he's a good athlete, 6'8", power forward. I need to obviously increase my depth of knowledge on some of these guys. Like Kevin McCullough, obviously I'm available with him playing at Kansas, and he's a really good defensive player. So that could be a two-way pick for that. But yeah, I'll go with.
He was 6'6" and 3/4 without shoes, 7'1" wingspan.
So 6'7" with a 7'1" wingspan, could play some 4. Solid athlete. That's who I'm going to go with as one of the two-way spots. And then who do you want to go with for the other? Drew Timmy. Mods, can you help us? I'm really disappointed in our mods right now. Aeromancer's looking up measurements, and he's the only mod in here. Because we got this spam.
I'm downing guys that are definitely not in this draft. Hold on, I want to look one thing up real quick.
I'm just kidding. Take all the time you need. I'm reading chat.
This once again is not going to make a lot of sense with who we drafted.
Oh, another wing? Eric's got another wing. A two-way spot, it's fine. We have 3 two-way spots, too.
Yeah, well, I think we're definitely going to keep Ivy Baji on one. But someone who had a really good day in the shooting drills today, and he didn't shoot that well this year, but once again, it's kind of like the Jalen Wilson situation where he was the only scorer on his team and didn't really have the best open look quality shots. Shot well the previous year. And that's Amari Moore from San Jose State.
Okay. I don't know who that is. I'm going to be honest. It's the first name today. I don't know who that is.
Sorry, guys. Didn't take your guy.
Who were they asking for? Zach Eady?
No. People were saying, all right, Eric Olson at least really wanted us to take Julian Phillips. Yeah.
6'7" without shoes, 7-foot wingspan, if we're rounding. Cool. That's our mock draft. We rolled the Blazers at 6 in the Tankathon sim. We took off Sar Thompson. We ran through every pick. Eric took Breast Sensible at 23. That was a really hard pick, though, with like Chris Murray, Jet Howard, Leonard Miller, Derek Lively off the board. But I really think Leonard Miller and Derek Lively are more likely to go in the lottery than they are to fall to 23 at this point. That means other guys will fall, but it feels like it's going to be the guards that fall. It feels like it's going to be like a Keontae George, Nick Smith Jr., maybe even a Kobe Buffkin. He's been rising. If Buffkin's there at 23 and we're not going front court, I'd probably just want to go him with the possibility that we end up making a trade with Simons for a front court piece. I really like him. But there's some talent in the second round. Like Strother, I think, could play a role right away. Kobe Brown, I think, has a chance of playing a role right away if his shooting translates to the league. I mean, you can never have enough shooting, especially at a power forward spot. So he's intriguing. Eric went Jalen Wilson, who is a winner. If you're just going based off Kansas the past couple years, Baji, once he got a shot, looked really good. Christian Brown pretty much played all season for the Nuggets. Still playing for the Nuggets. So, yeah, really intriguing draft. And we have the lottery tomorrow. So that concludes that.
The last time before we can actually talk about actual trades and what we would do without it being a simulation.
Yep. So we'll take questions for like 5 or 10 minutes. Then we'll do life advice. Then we're out of here, I think, unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
I don't know if Bonnie's still in here watching, but she said earlier she was watching from the hospital. Hope her surgery went well, and hope everything's okay.
Yep. Well wishes with you, Bonnie. Are we off on Embiid? No, but I probably don't want to trade the first overall pick for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough enough trading like Anthony Sharp and like number 4 or whatever for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A man or OG? I'm taking a man. Easily. Easily, easily, easily.
Yeah, it's more upside, smaller contract. Don't have to pay him in a year. You got him locked up for 4 years. So yeah, I agree with that.
We don't got making it to the finals. Nuggets Celtics.
I also have Nuggets and Celtics. Tori, pick a number between 1 and 100.
Um, 28.
Okay.
Why?
Zach just asked Eric or Tori pick a number between 1 and 100.
Oh, you pick a number between 1 and 100.
Um,
It was 62. Rip. We probably aren't lucky. I was thinking about picking 63. So, good thing you don't determine the lottery gods will, Zach.
Chad asks, who would you say is the preferred targets for Portland after Brown? I mean, there's lots of targets that they want to get that are not going to be available necessarily, but Giannis and Embiid are definitely ones they'll try to get, probably won't. And then McHale is definitely up there with Brown in terms of what they want. Yeah. I know they would like Siakam. It's just when you get to those kind of players, what you have to give up to get them and to match contracts, it just becomes tough. So that's why OG becomes realistic, even though I don't think they really care about OG right now. They're trying to go for bigger players than that. But yeah, it's tough. It just kind of depends on who becomes available. Do you think Brandon Miller would go top 3 in last year's draft?
I mean,
I think it's
there's a lot of similarities between him and Jabari. Jabari's just a little bit bigger.
yeah.
So I would say no.
Yeah, it's probably right in that 3, maybe 4 range. He probably goes 4 or 5, yeah.
By the way, chat, he's number 5 on my big board. I got the Thompson twins ahead of him. I think that's the clear-cut top 5. Some people view Asar like lower than that, but I think Asar has more upside than anybody below him. Clear upside, and also has clear role player potential as well. So, especially with what the Thompson twins measured today, I think both of them are top 5. I still love Amen Thompson. Amen. I gotta stop saying it like amen, especially if I love him as a prospect, right? But Amen Thompson is my number 3.
How likely we keep our pick if it's around 5 or 6? Not likely at all. If it's anything other than 1, it's not likely.
The thing is, though, is like if Embiid and Brown and Giannis don't become available, then what are we trading it for? And McHale isn't really gettable because the Nets love him too much. Then like, what are we trading him for?
I still like the trade down with Toronto or New Orleans if we're 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Get one of their wings, either OG or one of Herb or Trey, and move back, 10, 11 spots.
Eric Olson says, Tori, why don't you like Cam? It's not that I don't like Cam. I just hate everyone named Cam. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that I don't like Cam. I just have a hard time being super bullish on a dude's upside who I don't trust becoming like a super high level creator with the ball in their hands. But the more I've kind of open my mind to Jaylen Brown and, the things that Jaylen Brown did this year. He's not a great ball handler, and he's not really much of a facilitator either. He could make the right play, but, he still got 27 a game. He still was a really good player. So, when projecting Cam, you can say he's 18 years old, but, I haven't seen... You saw occasional passing flashes with Sharp, right? With Cam, I don't even see any passing flashes. Now, it could be system usage, etc., but I think he's the type of guy who's just been so physically dominant that he just tries to take the ball down the defense's throat every single time. He's trying to get to the rim no matter what, every single time, because that's what served him well. And he's a freaking strong dude, bowling ball, athletic. He has that ability. He's going to be a really good slasher even in the NBA, but in the NBA where guys are better at taking charges, guys are bigger, guys are a little bit stronger, will he be able to develop the part of his game where he's just reading the game and making decisions on the fly like that instead of just trying to constantly get to the rim? That's kind of the question mark with him. So that's why I'm not super high on him, but he could figure it out. As somebody said in chat, he is 18 years old. So I'm not holding anything back from him. If he could figure out how to read the game better at a higher level, then he has a ton of upside. He has star upside, but it's just all about how likely you think that is, in my opinion, is probably where you're going to project him.
Yeah, he got benched a couple times for that lack of feel for the game, not doing the right thing on the court. But towards the end of the season, I did see a couple flashes of passing ability. And if he figures it out with that bowling ball type frame and can muscle his way into the paint and becomes even a slightly below average passer, that's something you can work with. I watched a lot of this guy his freshman year, and I had the same concerns with Bennett Mathurin, and those all disappeared just 1 year later when he showed he could play on ball, he could create a little bit, and he could do all those things that you were talking about he can't do yet. So that's what gives me hope for Cam Whitmore, is just seeing the progression in just 1 year around this age for Bennett Mathurin. So hopefully for Cam, he has that summer jump.
Yep. Hope that it's possible, but then again, just because Ben Mathurin did it doesn't necessarily mean it will happen the same way.
Well, too, I mean, going into the NBA is a little different process than going back to college and learning how to do it in college one more year. So,
yeah, that bowling ball type of style in the NBA, 82 games a year. Nobody plays 82 games anymore, but still, with how long the seasons are, I feel like it can wear on you.
I don't know, he's got the body for it, though.
Yeah, but people would have said Zion has the body for it too, right?
No, Zion's way overweight for him. like Cam's not overweight, he's just strong.
Yeah, I still feel like it can take a little bit of a toll on you, having to play that physical night in, night out on the offensive end.
I mean, Mathurin did tail off at the end of the season, but he showed a good ability right away this year to get to the free throw line as a rookie. So
yeah, I feel like he doesn't rely that much on physicality as an offensive player as Cam does.
I disagree. I think he does. I think it's almost exactly the same.
Nah, I disagree. So, anyway, Caleb, Asar more than Amen. If you value the defense and shooting, yes, but Amen is just a clear Amen's a better athlete, and Asar's a great athlete. Amen is sensational athlete. Little quicker first step, and I think that just gives him more upside. And I think that's why he's projected a little higher. I also think he has a little bit more natural finishing and passing ability than Asar, and I think that's what sets him apart.
All right. I have to say this. Anyone from this point forward, there's only a few minutes left in the stream. Anyone who says the lottery is rigged or that there's a script and the picks are already known, I am blocking you on this channel. I just don't want to read that crap. It's stupid, and you're stupid for bringing it up. It's not rigged. They are all sequestered into a room minutes before the draft and figure it out. So just stop with that crap. It's so dumb.
It's an independent firm that they bring in to run it. So it's not the NBA The NBA's not even the people running it. So it's definitely not rigged.
Adzimac, wish you an amazing morning, day, night, wherever you're watching as well.
Why don't they show that part on TV? They literally released the footage of them running it. They released the footage of them running it after the lottery. But it's TV ratings unveiling it the way they do. That's why they do it the way they do.
Each team has a representative in there. So, like, Joe Cronin will be in there making sure that the Blazers aren't screwed. So, like, I don't understand how you think it's rigged.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing is there's literally no reason to say it's rigged. People just want to have the tinfoil hat on and claim the conspiracy is true. So... bring back the ping pong balls. They do it with ping pong balls, man. What do you Caleb, do your research on how the lottery is ran before you start saying it's rigged.
I mean, let's be real here. We're in the day of age where even if you're caught on video or it's obviously you get caught in 4K doing something, you people still say it's fake news and like you can't believe it. You can doctor videos now. There's AI stuff where you can make it seem like someone's saying something or doing something. It doesn't really matter. No matter what happens. I mean, this is what happened in the first lottery ever when there was just one envelope for each team, and David Stern took an envelope out of the basket. There was the conspiracy that one of the envelopes was frozen for the New York Knicks, so we knew which one to do. So, even one that was shown in front of everyone while David Stern pulled the envelope out of the thing, everyone says it was rigged anyway. So what the heck does it matter?
Yep. Anyway, life advice, unless you guys have a couple more NBA questions, and I'll let you get this final point in.
We still only have 10.5% chance of getting the number one pick, so it's way more likely that we do not have the number one pick. It's not doesn't mean it was rigged.
Yep, agreed. Agreed. I hate that too. So none of that going into tomorrow. Anyway, as we head to the life advice segment, once again, I'd like to thank Manta Mask for sponsoring this channel. You can get your Manta Mask by clicking the link in the description box below. The cool thing with these is, so these eye cups, right? They're actually Velcro, so you can take them off, and they make different types of eye straps. And somebody I know got the cooling mask. The cooling mask, Eric. It's cups that you can basically put in the fridge or refrigerator, and they'll be cool. And they keep that coldness throughout the night. So if you don't have AC, as the temperatures are getting up to 90 degrees in the Portland area, we had 90 degrees and rain and lightning today. But I don't have any AC here, so I need to get the cooling cups as soon as possible because it gets really hot at night. I struggle sleeping because of how hot it is. I've heard really good reviews on the cooling cups. So if you don't have AC or if you don't like the heat, if you don't like being 85 degrees at night and feeling all hot, you can get the cooling mask over at mantasleep.com. Use the link in the description box below, and if you use the promo code UPRISE, you get 10% off. So that is my first bit of life advice for you guys. And
we have about a month until Father's Day, so if I know you started promoting those before Mother's Day, but there was a point where it was a little too close to order them. But if you start ordering them now, you have plenty of time to get them before then.
Absolutely. So thank you to Manta Sleep. Appreciate them as always. If the Blazers fall down in the draft, actually, honestly, I might just watch the lottery with this on tomorrow, Eric. That might be the move.
Yeah.
That might be the move. Just if you're too scared, hopefully you bought a Manta mask because you can watch the lottery like this. You can plug your ears and just. You don't have to watch it. You can put on a Manta Sleep mask. Maybe you'll fall asleep, and then you'll wake up in the morning and figure out that we got the number one pick, and then you'll be mad you missed it. Anyway.
I already had to banish someone on the channel.
I said the big markets always get the number one pick. Yeah, just like the Knicks got it for Zion over the New Orleans Pelicans, right?
Well, yeah, last year the freaking Orlando Magic, that huge market of Orlando.
Minneapolis, the Minnesota Timberwolves have
They've
got two
gotten
of them with
several.
Cat and Edwards. Yeah, doesn't make sense.
I'm sure Cleveland, they've gotten it, what, 4 times?
Yeah. But, Eric, the big markets always get the number one
Always.
pick. Always. Except for the times they don't, but those don't count, okay? The times that count, they always get the number one pick. It always happens. Look at history, sheep.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I'm sure back in 97 too, the NBA wanted Tim Duncan to go to the San Antonio Spurs, who already had David Robinson.
All right, Caleb, that's a warning for spreading misinformation. That's actually 2 warnings because you spread misinformation earlier. Okay, if you spread misinformation again, it's a ban. We have a rule against spreading misinformation.
And Karen, you're not allowed to call someone a moron because we do not do that. Personal insult people in chat. So that's why.
There's a rule. Don't personally insult people in chat.
Just, Karen, you can block people so you don't have to read them, right?
Yes. Grace says, unless it's me, LOL. We tell people to play nice to you too, Gray.
Truly, Spencer, PDX with a $2 donation. Thank you so much. And Roy, we trust. Hopefully, number 7 helps us land number 1. Yeah, hopefully.
Fingers crossed. If you want a video to watch
Roy.
before you go to sleep, watch the video I dropped on the main channel talking about what it would mean. I scripted it. Didn't have the time to put photos on it, but I don't think it needed it. Caleb Pendergraph says, just got here. Did someone already call me a moron? Yes, you freaking moron.
Different Caleb.
Yeah, different Caleb. Different Caleb. You have not spread misinformation yet. Spread some misinformation, and that might change, Caleb Pendergraph.
Do we want to run one more Tankathon? Or not tempt the gods?
I mean, that was... Don't tempt the gods. That was... I said that was officially the last one.
Yeah.
It was officially the last one.
Yeah.
No more Tankathon for, hopefully, a decade, Eric. Hopefully that was the last Tankathon sim we've done on stream involving the Blazers in the next decade.
Yeah. Do you want to just let everyone know what the plan is for going live tomorrow?
Yeah, like 4:30 p.m. on the main channel. And then the lottery starts at 5, and I'll have graphics for it. I'll have graphics for it that I've already put together. So those should be pretty cool. I'm going to try and keep up with them as the lottery goes. That's going to be tough. But Eric gets to see my end of me just like spam clicking, trying to plug graphics in and react to the lottery.
Instead of hear it.
Yeah, instead of hearing it, you get to see it. Mm-hmm. And there'll be a bunch of this. So, but I'll be on my laptop streaming it. We'll just have one mic. We'll just sit next to each other. No, we're not doing another Tankathon. We're not tempting the gods. Thank me later, Mac Mall. 4:30 p.m. tomorrow. Me and Eric will be together, and we'll stream maybe a little bit longer if we get the number 1 pick. I don't know how long we'll stream for. We'll just play it by ear. I mean, there's really nothing to it, so...
And if you're coming, feel free to show up by 4, and we'll hang out until the draft. Just going to be setting up and stuff for the stream, but love to have you come a little early so we can chat and hang out. Get some pizza before we either throw up or are celebrating all night. Yeah.
Yep. Anyway. If anybody needs life advice, you got 2 minutes to ask me a life advice question. I'll be your psychiatrist as we go into this monumental day.
It'll be over on the main channel, J King.
Main channel, J King, yes. Big streams like that, always main channel. It's hot in here, man. I'm not enjoying the weather. Although it was kind of cool raining when it was like 88 degrees. And the temperature dropped like 15 degrees in 15 minutes. We got like southern weather today, which is rare. How do I not have an anxiety attack until the lottery? Breathe, meditate. Taylor Packer says life advice on how to convince Tori to start making Believe in Blazers episodes again. Okay, me and Steven have been talking about it for 2 weeks, but I'm always like, oh, I'm busy next time. Oh, I'm busy. Like, he's been down to do it. I just have a lot going on, so we'll definitely do one after the lottery. So stay tuned, and that'll just be a video upload on this channel. Chadco says, should I get my high school boys all matching and one basketball shoes for the upcoming season with a laughing face emoji? No. I didn't know and one basketball shoes was a thing, but yeah, that's probably a bit risky there. Because there was talk in high school about getting team shoes, and it's like, I wanted to wear Kobe's. I only wanted to wear Kobe's. It was the most comfortable shoe for me, felt the best on the court. I only wanted to wear Kobe's. Other people wanted to wear other shoes, so making, people wear a certain shoe, I'm not a fan of. You only get team shoes with your school's contract with the brand. Oh, I mean, if it's some sort of branded thing and you have to, then I don't know. But
Colonel Pancakes, do you know where it is? It says see you tomorrow. I don't know if I have you on the list.
Well, he might just be saying for the stream.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Dro says if you're sponsored by and one, just transfer. Damn. That's messed up.
Yeah. Oh. Never mind, Colonel Pancakes. See you tomorrow on stream then, yes.
Bonnie says Duolingo is a pretty good app for learning languages. Yes, we need to get Wemby so that I have to learn French, and then whatever I learn French through, I can get a sponsorship, and then I can do the sponsorship read partly in French to show you guys that it works and to motivate you guys that you guys can also learn French. And then for all the new French fans, is all the, Wemby fans come over, half our viewer base will be French. So then, we got to learn French for them, right?
We.
That's we. So that's big brain. Yes. 4 steps ahead. I am, Mateo.
Oh man, just think how much better this summer is going to be if we.
Wemby is a 5, not a 4, by the way. Wemby
Cool.
is whatever he wants to be, bro.
Maybe eventually.
This is 2023. It's not 2005. You don't have to pigeonhole players as one specific position.
Tell you what, his rookie year, if he's on the Blazers, he'd be a 4.
Yes. Shoot, Wemby could play the 3. Shout out Gray Hughes Investigates for a $10 dono with 4 wave emojis, then says time for a pre-draft dono wave, then 2 wave emojis. Thank you, Gray, for the $10 dono. We actually had an emoji wave, not an emoji wave, a dono wave earlier in the stream. I'm sure, they were inspired by you because you're always calling for the dono waves, and we appreciate it. Thank you for the $10 dono. Dro says he barely ate because he's so nervous for tomorrow. That sounds unhealthy. You should probably eat. I had Wingstop today because somebody asked me earlier. Colonel Pancake says, I'm glad I get to see B-Roy tomorrow. I haven't seen him in a bit. Yeah, that would be cool. Shout out Chris Brandlin. What's up, Chris? With a $5 dono says, wave on. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.
Good to see you, Chris. You good?
What? I'm curious how a position, whatever position you play, how that makes it so you don't have to ever guard someone on the perimeter.
I know. Yeah, our power forward guarded a lot of point guards last year, so. Shout out to Bonnie with the $2 dono. Says first time dono with a heart hand emoji and
a box.
A box. Thank you, Bonnie. Is that really? I swear Bonnie's donoed it before.
I don't know.
I'll take her word for it. $2
you,
dono. Thank you, Bonnie. Appreciate you as always. Shout out Colonel Pancakes with a $5 dono with no message, which means it got retracted or you didn't actually leave one. So if you meant to leave one, let me know. Thank you for the 5. Bonnie says there is no box. Oh,
There is a box, but
yeah, I don't get it. What is that? There's the square.
Interest.
Bonnie says maybe it's the pain meds. But I don't think I donoed before.
Is it a sticky
you
note?
probably have it. You're such a regular. I feel like regulars have donoed before. Sticky note. We need to get that sticky note board going.
Yeah.
Maybe you bring the board, I'll bring the Post-its tomorrow. Truly Spencer says, who said they're donating 200 if we get Wemby? Somebody said they're donating 500, not 200. Because 500 is the most you can dono. So, shout out Sude with a $3 dono with 2 wave emojis. What would you call that face, Eric?
Smirking face is what it's
Smirking face. Okay, and then 2 more wave emojis. Thank you, Sude. Appreciate you. $3 dono.
Wasn't it Colt SXJ?
Was it? I think I screenshotted it somewhere, so I need to look it up. Colonel says, I'll donate 100 if we get number 1. I'm always in chat, so legit. I believe you, because, yeah, you're
by the way, Sam Dooley's coming tomorrow. And,
that's awesome.
He said he had a camera and a tripod that he was bringing. So
camcorder?
I don't know.
I talked to Sam.
Okay. Did he tell you?
Yeah, I think it was USB.
We can always hook it up and record it from.
I need to get my USB splitter and then test that tomorrow with his. But then I'll have a camcorder as well.
I'll have my computer too if we want to record on that as well without interrupting the stream. So.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out tomorrow. Shout out Jakey with the $5 dono. Says for Wemby luck, because obviously me donating this $5 will be the difference in us getting the first pick, obviously. You're right, Jakey. You figured it out. Congrats and thank you.
If we get number 1, well, we all have to thank Jakey for that last push over the top. Yep.
Like right when we get number 1, I better see a bunch of thanks, Jakey, in the comment section.
Dro, you should have came to town 3 days earlier then.
Pasty Zach says, Tori, do you have a Mac? And Eric Olson says, Pasty Zach, Tori is a Mac. I don't know what that means to be a Mac, but no, I don't have a Mac. And apparently I'm a... Oh, that's what it means. Okay, see, yeah. I'm too old for your young guys' slang lingo.
Old heads.
Yeah, I'm an old head, so.
Yeah.
I don't know your guys'
He's the Mac daddy.
Words. So. Chad, I'm too young. I know, the joke was old. Yeah, I know. That was the joke, Chad. I'm glad you got it.
Yeah, I know Mac Daddy, Return of the Mac, all that stuff.
I've heard of that, yeah. I didn't know it specifically meant what it meant.
back in the day, you used to say you're going to go mac on some girls or whatever, you know.
Yeah, that's yeah. But that could have meant like I don't know. That could have meant 5 different things, you know. So
Yeah.
but that's kind of the point of slang, right? So.
Mm-hmm.
Too old. Hop on over to Rip City Retro, my friend. You will feel spry in no time. Yeah. If you guys want to check out Eric's and Rich's podcast, Rich Finley, supporter of ours, they've started a podcast looking at the history of the Blazers. So they looked at the history of the lottery. So they dropped an episode over there on Rip City Retro's YouTube page. I need a link. Let me go grab a link so that I can share it. So definitely go support those guys.
We also dropped our second episode over the weekend. It's about the Clyde Drexler trade, what led up to it, and the parallels between that and the Clyde or Damian Lillard situation right
Brandon Roy is going to be.
Yep. There, I gave you guys a 2-second snippet on accident.
Thanks.
There you go, though. There is the link, so you guys can go subscribe. And shout out Colonel Pancakes with a $50 bomb. Says half now, half later, because he said he would donate 100 for us getting Wemby. So he's saying half of it's coming later because we are getting Wemby. Thank you, Colonel Pancakes, for the $50 dono.
And now we have to get Wemby because he doesn't want to only give half of it, right?
Well, it's happening. Thanks to Jake. Jakey, I mean, how could I ever not say his name right? He got us Wemby. Rip City Retro says, nice of ya, and thanks for the please no Aiton video, LOL. Yeah, I had to drop one of those. Those are easy. I was going to do another prospect watch, but with the graphics on those videos, it would have taken forever. I didn't have the time, so I was like, I need to drop a ramble. What could I ramble about? Oh, DeAndre freaking Aiton again.
Yep.
Because people don't learn, apparently.
Dude. It's
You're
almost
right.
midnight, which means 17 hours till draft time.
Yep.
Or draft lottery time.
I think that means it's time for us to run. We will catch you guys tomorrow on the draft lottery stream. Looking forward to it. I'm also very nervous and not looking forward to it at the same time. So, have a good night's sleep. And the fate of the Blazers is decided tomorrow. And hopefully we catch you over there on the main channel. Thank you to BetOnline. Use the promo code BELIEVE for 50% off over there at BetOnline. You can still bet on the lottery. Mm-hmm. And thank you to Manta Mask. Tons of options over at mantasleep.com. Different types of masks. There's a link in the description box below that you can click and head over there and use the promo code Uprise for 10% off. There's steam therapy. There's cooling therapy. With it being summer,
Need
the
that
cooling pads. Whew, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd wear it on my forehead sometimes just to get the nice cooling on the forehead. So I've already heard good reviews from people that have bought a Manta mask, so definitely check them out. Thank you to them for sponsoring us as well. And with that being said, we are out of here. Draft Lottery Day is here. Have a good rest of your Draft Lottery Eve because there's still 4 minutes left of it if you're on the West Coast. And we'll catch you tomorrow on the main channel with that live stream. And shout out to those of you who are coming in person. Looking forward to meeting some of you guys as well. Some of you for the first time, some of you again. And it should be a lot of fun. Fingers crossed. Pray to the lottery gods. We're out of here. We'll catch you tomorrow. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.